Check this out, guys. Julian Assange, the co-founder of Wikileaks, could actually walk out of prison in the UK in a matter of days. A judge in the UK just ruled that he should not be extradited into the United States because of his state of mind. So not only is the US appealing this decision because they've wanted to get their hands on Julian Assange for a long time to do God knows what to him, but on top of that, Julian Assange has the chance to actually post bail and be released from prison in the UK in a matter of a few days. My name is Soran, welcome to the channel. Stick around until the end of the video, it's about to get very interesting. So this ruling by the UK judge kind of came out of nowhere, so let's read what happened and then we'll go into the consequences between the US and the UK because of this decision. This BBC article reads, Julian Assange, UK judge blocks extradition of Wikileaks founder to the US. And it's about to get dicey. Wikileaks founder Julian Assange cannot be extradited to the United States, a court in London has ruled. The judge blocked the request because of concerns over Mr. Assange's mental health and risk of suicide in the US. Mr. Assange, who is wanted over the publication of thousands of classified documents in 2010 and 11, says the case is politically motivated. Expressing disappointment at the ruling, the US Justice Department noted that its legal arguments had prevailed. So I read an outline of the legal arguments so far, and it turns out that the legal arguments that the US was bringing was actually accepted by the UK judge. But the UK judge ruled that if Julian Assange would be put to the US, extradited into the US, he would be given a fair trial, but there would be a high risk of actually him committing suicide. So in the end, the judge found a way to make sure that Julian Assange would not be extradited into the US. And obviously, the officials in the US are not very happy about this because they wanted Julian Assange for a long time. They put him on the level with Snowden in terms of whistleblowers of the acts of the government in the US. So obviously they're not going to be very happy with the UK and with this decision as well. The article goes on to read, its position is that the leaks broke the law and endangered lives. While we are extremely disappointed in the court's ultimate decision, we are gratified that the United States prevailed on every point of law raised, the Justice Department said. The US authorities have 14 days in which to lodge an appeal and are expected to do so. So the US government is going to appeal this decision because obviously they're very adamant on getting Julian Assange. Julian Assange had to stay inside the embassy of, I think it was the Ecuadorian embassy, Ecuadorian or Colombian embassy within London for years, where he wouldn't even be allowed to go outside out of fear of being snatched by some CIA team or some other people who would then extradite him to the US. But now that he has found some relief in the fears of actually being extradited into the US, now that he knows that he won't be forced to go there, I think he feels much more safe. And at the same time, the judge actually ruled that it would be oppressive to extradite the Wikileaks founder to the US. Let's take a look at what The Guardian article has to say about it, because they take a look at it from a different angle. So they say that Julian Assange will make a fresh bid to be released from prison on Wednesday after a British judge ruled that he cannot be extradited to the US to face charges of espionage and of hacking government computers. Lawyers for US authorities are appealing against the ruling at the Old Bailey, which is the one of the premier law houses in the courts in London, which rejected arguments that the Wikileaks co-founder would not get a fair trial in the US but blocked extradition on the basis that procedures in prison there would not prevent him from potentially taking his own life. So the judge is ruling that he shouldn't be extradited because basically they're saying that if he is extradited to the US, there's a high likelihood that Julian Assange will take his own life. In other words, this judge has almost zero trust in the US authorities in handling Julian Assange in their prisons. especially with the long track record of high-profile people committing suicide in prisons and later under very suspicious circumstances, right? Assange will appear on Wednesday at Westminster Magistrates Court in West London for a new bail application. So essentially tomorrow we'll find out if Julian Assange will be granted bail, and if he will, then he will be a free man. Then after years of confinement in London, in embassies and now in prisons, he'll actually be a free man. So a very big decision coming up for Julian Assange, especially if his lawyers are able to get this bail application put through the court. There are special circumstances that makes it more likely than not. Legal experts are saying that it's very unlikely, but what they don't really count on, I think, is that his legal team is expected to refer to conditions at Belmarsh High Security Prison in South London against the backdrop of a worsening COVID-19 pandemic. So apparently there's an outbreak of COVID-19 in a lot of these prisons in London. So this article is arguing that increases the likelihood of Julian Assange having posted bail for his lawyers to succeed in the bail application. On the other side, the judge will weigh the pros and the cons, and the con is that the against is that the legal experts are saying that they would be surprised if bail is granted, given Assange's categorization as a flight risk. So the judge obviously will make a decision. The pros is that the prisons are filling up, and a lot of these people, especially the elderly in prisons, are in massive danger with COVID-19 spreading that rapidly. But on the other side, the judge will recognize that Julian Assange could well be a flight risk if he's put out into the open, told not to leave England, but obviously he would have the means and the opportunity to do almost whatever he wanted if he actually got free. But turning to the evidence by medical experts about Assange's precarious mental health, she said, the judge, the overall impression is of a depressed and sometimes despairing man who is genuinely fearful about his future. I find that the mental condition of Mr. Assange is such that it would be oppressive to extradite him to the United States of America, she concluded. So in the end, that's her final decision, that it would basically be oppressive, and that's why he's not being extradited into the US. Obviously, this creates a lot of tensions between the US and the UK, and one of the people to release a statement the fastest is Tulsi Gabbard, the congresswoman of Hawaii in the US. Not a lot of other people have said too much about this so far because it's a very incendiary situation. You don't want to incite any tensions between your long-lasting ally, if you're the US, with your ally being the UK. But at the same time, the US officials really want both Snowden, who right now is in Russia, and Julian Assange, who right now is just sitting there in the UK. But he won't be extradited, and this is what Tulsi Gabbard had to say in one of her tweets. Brave whistleblowers exposing lies and illegal actions in our government must be protected. Join me and urge Congress pass my bipartisan legislation calling for charges against Snowden and Assange to be dropped and to reform the Espionage Act of 2017. So this is very interesting because Tulsi Gabbard is obviously a Democrat, but she's working together with Matt Gaetz, who's a Republican. So this is a bipartisan resolution where they're trying to drop the charges against Snowden and against Assange at the same time for whistleblowing on the government, for revealing a lot of these information and videos that reveal atrocities both in war but also domestic issues. Snowden was obviously famed for revealing how the US has a mass surveillance system on all of the citizens in the US and completely obliterating all of the rights that the US citizens are supposed to have. He revealed that, and the US government went after him so hard that he had to move to Russia of all places, where actually so far he's been safe as far as we can tell. Now, Julian Assange has been locked up for a long time for revealing other information, especially these horrifying videos of war where the US Army seems to be recklessly dropping bombs on civilians because they might have a chance of hitting one terrorist, but they don't even know if he's in the area. Very damning videos released by Julian Assange, and so you can imagine that there's a lot of people in power that want both Julian Assange and Snowden either out of the way or locked up for good. So the US is going to appeal this decision, which doesn't really come as a big surprise. But if they get a rejection at the appeal, then I would be very surprised to see the US take any further actions, because at the end of the day, I don't think they're willing to strain the relationship between the US and the UK too much for Julian Assange alone. I might be wrong, but that's my take on it. There's also rumors that Donald Trump leaving office will actually grant more of these pardons to a lot of people. The most controversial ones were obviously the pardons of the Blackwater operatives, the mercenary army that the US has employed throughout all of these wars in the Middle East and in North and Central Africa. So Trump gave pardons to a lot of people. And there's been a lot of calling for Trump, as he leaves office, to pardon both Snowden, and so Snowden can return to the United States again, and Julian Assange as well, although I'm not sure that Assange would return to the US even if he's pardoned. All right, well, there you have it. I thought it was really interesting to see the US government be rejected and for Julian Assange possibly to be granted bail. Is very interesting, and I'll follow up on the story tomorrow as it develops to find out what the final fate of Assange is going to be in the legal system in the UK. Thank you so much for watching the video until the end. Remember to subscribe to the channel, and let's push this beautiful number right here. Let's push it to 800 and get a nice round number. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, guys. I'll see you tomorrow in the next video.